not a scientist. I'm not an expert in footballs. I'm not an expert in football measurements. But they put on football. So goddamn hard to hold on to it.
Week 6, the Fantasy Millionaires. He stacks. I'm Cash. Christian Kirk just caught an 80-yard touchdown 2 seconds ago. We are live on a Monday night.
Good to see you, brother. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right.
You're doing better than the Jets, that's for sure. Dig Adam Gase's grave already, New York. What are you guys doing? Holy shit, that's a bad football team.
And you didn't get your bet in on the 7.
And half wins. Yeah, the books this year had the Jets at 7.5 wins. I could not believe that was out there when I saw that. I put a bunch of money, tried to send it to a friend to get the bet in. It didn't work. No money was made off that bet. So, oh, man.
Listen, I don't like to talk politics a lot on this show, but let me talk politics for a second.
Do it right away. Let's go for it.
I don't remember what the name of the issue is on the Maryland ballot, but there is a vote up for legalizing sports gambling in Maryland.
Oh, smash that! Let's smash that! Yeah,
everyone in Maryland, please do your part as a voter and get out to that booth. I don't care who you vote for. Vote yes for legalizing gambling.
It's question 2, I believe, is what it says, to legalize sports betting in Maryland. So, yeah, if you're in Maryland, shout out Maryland, first of all. It's a hell of a state. It's a great state. It's one of the most educated, smartest. I mean, look at us. Look at us. Best beards out there. Anyway, yeah, do please vote if you're in Maryland and vote to legalize gambling. We need it across the whole United States. If we're going to have Trump or Biden, either one, we're going to need some time spent, making ourselves feel better with a little bit of gambling. So please.
Yeah, it's such a good revenue generator for everybody. So I mean, come on, man. We're in 2020 now. It's going to happen. So I think it's going to happen here in Maryland on this election. I think there'll be enough votes on this ballot. So
I mean, you'll hear me jumping in with the Guidos out there, just being like, "Hey, how you doing? Get your gabagoo. Hey, vote for number 2. Hey, how you doing? Come on, man, put it in there. We gotta get that gambling. Come on, man. We all love sports gambling, DFS, daily sports betting. I mean, goodness gracious. Some of my favorite sports journalists are the Junkies, and they have segments every week on their show where they're talking lines, they're talking props, they're talking bets. I mean, my man Cakes will hit me up and be like, "Hey, you got any props? What's going on with the betting?" Betting is everywhere. In the UK, it's just like, "Hey, man, I'm going to go into this pub real quick. Let me place a bet, jump back in, come back out. You're done." It's like a second. William Hill, all those guys, they're on your app. You can bet. They give you live lines. A goal will get scored and a new line will jump on your phone and give you some odds to maybe get the comeback goal or the next goal to go up. So it's another world over in Europe. We are behind. We need to get there. Everybody in sports gambling agrees. Sorry, I went on a tirade there.
Well, and the other thing is too, for all us fantasy heads, DraftKings, they have their sports book side of it. So, I mean, you're already on there. You're already doing
Jump
DFS,
over.
So, it'll be nice to, be able to just throw more cash. So,
pull back the curtain. Mike and I live in the great state of Maryland. Like we said, we drive to West Virginia to do our sports betting. It's going to be really nice to go to the shitter to do my sports betting instead of having to drive to a shitter of a state to do my sports betting. No offense, West Virginia. You're wild and wonderful, but I'd rather not get up on a Saturday or Sunday morning and trek an hour there and an hour back just to throw some cash. So that will be amazing if it goes through. And hopefully Maryland operationalizes that during this NFL season that we have coming up. So, yeah, you get me excited, man.
Yeah, I don't know how that'll all play out. I'm sure it'll take a little bit, but yeah. So hopefully, how'd you do in DFS this weekend, my friend?
Ooh, I'm going to say I did better than Pete Overzet, but you know what? That's not saying much. I think both of us bit it a little bit this week. I didn't go down 100. I mean, if you go down 100, who cares? But I'm trying to go up hundreds, not down hundreds. I was under 100, above 75, around 75 down. But you know what? I'm coming back strong. I got my man's coin. I'm rubbing it out a little bit more this week, getting that shiny gloss and gleam on it. We're going to come back strong in week 7. You and I already are on the hunt So yeah, I feel good.
How much was your best lineup? What'd you get?
I got 203.32. So about 204 was my best lineup. My man Bo McBig Time, shout out my big Bo. He helped me build that bad boy. We got Jefferson in there. We had DeAndre Swift in there. We were rocking and rolling with our wideouts as well. So we're coming back. We'll be back this week. Week 7. Every week is a new week in DFS fantasy football. You're here because you want to win your week. That's how it works. That's what we're gonna do.
I think I had a 194 was my best one. Do you think this is a good idea for a podcast? Maybe, it's a little bit of spitballing, but
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe the title is a couple of losers or something like that. You get together and you talk who you should have played in that one damn spot that ruined your lineup.
Just that one spot that crushed you?
That one or two spots, that you just you shifted.
So like the Suicide Club, but for fantasy football.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah. I think that's good. That's what we did today. We had a cathartic talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting choked up right now about it. And we talked about how I was one player away from thousands of dollars in the Millie Maker, but I went Aaron Jones when I should have underpaid for Derrick Henry. So you know what? You can hit all those, get 204, only make $100. That is the way the oblong ball, I should say, bounces in this game. But it's great to get in it. And we talked about it today on the phone. I called up just to talk about doing a lineup. Next thing you know, we're exalting fantasy football. And you were not calling out Alex Osimo, but you were like, I want to be like Alex Osimo. I'm here to stay DFS every day. So, just a little precursor. We were getting hyped. We were getting hyped today. It was real. So.
DFS by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
All night. Yeah. Well, let me just say, I'm not going to peel back the curtain too much here, but I have a lovely little sofa area that I sleep on every Saturday night, because every Saturday night I stay up, I do my podcast, I do another podcast with my man Bo McBig Time. You jumped on that podcast, Fast Hard Finish, and then I bring it up in the morning with the Millie Maker podcast. So, it's a lot going on. This is my man cave. I love it. It's Monday, though. We got a game on. We got one in the books, a great game, the Chiefs. We'll talk about it later. We're going to talk about a little new segment that Mike doesn't even know about yet that I'm unveiling later. It's just called Power Rankings. And we're just going to talk about what we think are the best teams, and not just best teams in football, but for that fantasy football team that you're chasing. So what are the best teams so far when you kind of look at the quarterback, the wide receiver, kind of, same thing we do when we look at stacks for DFS, but who are kind of those winning stacks you see going forward across the NFL? Who do you want to have the rest of the season? Not that you can get them, but maybe that'll prelude to some of our trade talks as well. So you want to jump into trade talk?
Yeah, man. You said you got a scenario, so drop it on me. Let's each do a couple guys that we think we either want to go after or get rid of.
Yeah, and I have a little one for both of us, and I think this is one where I've thought it out a little bit, but would you right now rather be trading for CEH or Lev Bell? Which owner in your league are you approaching? And maybe where do you see the value being right now in that relationship? It hasn't started yet. We have no data to see how it's going to go. I think right now is a kind of a get and grab situation where either way you might be able to get a little more value. What are you thinking about that situation?
CEH by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day. Give me CEH. It definitely hurts his value getting Lev Bell there. But as we saw tonight, he's second in the league with rushing yards.
Rookie.
Yeah, I think. He really he's dynamic with the ball in his hands. I do think it does hurt his value, but I think that's a great person for this segment because you're gonna have to give up somebody decent too. They're not. Whoever's got him is, especially after tonight, is going to want somebody of value. So who are you who would you offer up?
For CEH, that's a good question. I mean, I think normally you're not going to do a running back for running back trade. I mean, you don't normally do that if you have a running back. So, I'm thinking you're going to either be trading a wide receiver, which is the highest probability, or maybe a tight end if someone's desperate for a really high-class tight end. Maybe you have Waller and Tanyan or something like that. But, I'm thinking in that Marquise Brown range of wide receiver, that wide receiver kind of 20 to 30 is somebody that I would be willing to trade, especially if I have a lot of wide receivers. So on my team currently in our big money league, the BFFs, I have Robert Woods, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, and C.D. Lamb. I also have Deontay Johnson on the bench. He's been dinged up a little bit. I'd be willing to trade, Deontay Johnson for sure. I don't think I'd go to CD Lamb level, and all the rest of those guys are a little bit untouchable for me. We have an extra flex that you can do anything you want with. So, I'm rocking out a bunch of wide receivers, and it's been working so far. So, I would say in that Marquise Brown range, in that Julian Edelman range, Edelman definitely is a little bit hurt. So if you can flip him for CEH, somebody who needs a wide receiver.
I don't think anyone's going to give away CEH for those. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
There's some people who might be depressed, might be down. Might be a little discouraged these days.
I think a more respectable offer is somebody like Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Would you trade Cooper Kupp?
Yes. I think because the Rams offense it wants to run. It just does. It's a run heavy offense. That's what McVay has shown this year. You don't just go, hey, I'm gonna run the first 6 weeks and then we're just going to pass the next 8. They're running the football. They want to run the football. On a drive yesterday, they trying to come back. They ran 7 times and then they got down the goal line and they started passing it and they couldn't pass it. It was a bit of a struggle. So, I definitely think going forward that I would make that trade, Cooper Kupp for CEH. Cooper Kupp will spike more, but I think CEH will be more consistent. Here's what I see with the Lev Bell situation. I see Lev Bell being a third down back, being that Darrell Williams role that it's in there now, and kind of having CEH have a lot of those opportunities where he is kind of the lead running back. I think Lev Bell is one of the best pass catching backs out of the backfield out of anybody. So I could just see them kind of going 50-50 with that timeshare, and both people being very valuable,
right?
Like wide or running back 2 to flex options every week. I think Lev Bell in the long run edges out, but I think Lev Bell is less accessible. I think the Lev Bell owner right now is valuing him a little bit more probably than the CEH owner, even though today was a big game. That was predicted. Everyone said he's going to ball out. He's all by himself. He's going to ball out. And he did. He did. But when Lev Bell comes in, I think, let's see, wait a week. Don't trade right now. Trade after a week or two after CEH goes down a little bit, then make a move.
I like that advice. What about somebody like okay, I've got somebody. Would you want to trade for DeAndre Swift right now?
Oh yeah. Here's the thing. People I wouldn't want to trade for him this week, given how high his price will be. But yes, That's who I want on my team for sure. Yeah. I would be looking for these guys who are. Hopefully you were trading for Swift earlier, and you held on to him. You did. I know you did. You have a very high opinion of him. We ranked him earlier in the year. We did a little rookie segment. We talked about him, Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor. It was a good little segment. You go back and look it up in the beginning of the year. And so I would definitely go after Swift for the second half of the year, because I think what you saw in that game, he ran the ball. He didn't just get the backfield, catches and little passes, which he did get too, but he ran the football. I think that's a big, sign of things to come. They put him down the goal line. He got that touchdown. So I'm a big fan of Swift going forward. I think he has top 20 value. That RB2 every week is not going to be there, but he is an RB2 bust out potential. And so I look at the matchups and see, but yeah, he's somebody who's not going to probably leave my lineup for a while.
Okay, I got a scenario for you. Would you trade Darrell Henderson for DeAndre Swift?
Given the propensity for Sean McVay to run the football this year, I'm going to hold off on that. I don't know if that's a real good equivalent thing. I love the touchdown upside though for Darrell Henderson, especially given that offense doesn't do much down around the goal line with they're not good. They don't. Against let's playing the Eagles, and then they throw to Higbee 3 straight times, just kind of like the Chiefs did tonight with Kelsey throwing it to him in the end zone 2 straight times. I don't know if people are not watching these tight ends and learning how to bracket coverage or to drop someone in front of them. Whatever. I digress.
Well, they sure know how to cover Zach Ertz. That's for sure.
Dude, I think Zach Ertz's wife could cover Zach Ertz right now.
It's the play calling, too. They literally just set him up in front of a linebacker 3 yards out. It's the worst. I mean, Doug Peterson, garbage.
Yeah. Well, Doug Peterson is garbage because the offensive line is garbage. Let's also, pinpoint the problem in this offense. They've lost Lane Johnson for several games. They lost starting guard last game as well. You knew the Ravens were going to feast. I'm shocked that Carson Wentz took all that abuse and led them back in the fourth quarter. That's impressive. That's impressive.
My gosh, dude. Carson Wentz, he is doing this with a starting wide receiver trio of Travis Fulgham, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, and Greg Ward. That's who he's doing this with, and he almost took down the Ravens. I mean,
well, don't forget prospect to be on my waiver wires list, Richard Rodgers. Yeah, he's out there too, man. So I mean, don't discount.
Who?
I don't know. He was on the Packers, and I didn't know who he was then.
Yeah,
and so I definitely don't know who he is now. But I mean, that's the reality because Zach Ertz, who is Zach Ertz? I don't know who that guy is. He's out, by the way, 3 to 4 weeks at least. Here's a little thing you should be aware of. Is Dallas Goedert. I would trade for that guy, man. He is going to be a winner the rest of the league year. And guess who's got him in the BFFs? It's your boy. So, if you didn't know, I'm primed to go this year. Russell Wilson coming back off a bye. If I win tonight, 5-1. Sorry, personal stories notwithstanding. Let's get back into it.
I got one more for the segment before we jump into elevate, mitigate, or eviscerate. What do you think about Ronald Jones? And also, it's a similar situation. I mean, Leonard Fournette is really almost eviscerate. So you could get him off. I mean, you could get him maybe off the waiver wire. He's not in any leagues waiver wires that I'm in because everyone is just waiting.
He's a big name. Yeah, you're not going to get rid of him yet.
So I think both of those are interesting guys. I mean, I would target either one of them for a trade.
I think you have the best defense in the league in the Bucs, and when you have the best defense, you get to run the football. That's what you get to do. Like that's kind of like a thing that's going to happen a lot the rest of the year. I can see either one of those running backs getting value and touches. If one goes down, you got the other. So I like that strategy, particularly, because Fournette could be let go, or you could get him on the cheap on a trade, maybe for somebody who's on the bench.
Yeah, well, Ronald Jones right now has 472 rushing yards, 3 TDs. So he's putting himself together a really nice season.
Yeah.
I do think when Leonard Fournette comes back, it totally degrades him. But I still think because of the way that offense works, he's going to continue to have nice big plays and get into the end zone. So I would go after. So who if you have Ronald Jones, who would you accept?
I do have Ronald Jones, and I'm sure people will come looking because one of my teams is going to be 0-6 because I started with Michael Thomas, his lordship, and then Chris Godwin, his lordship as well. They've fudged my team up, if you know what I mean, and my team sucks. So. I think I would take, in the range of wide receivers, here's the problem. The wide receivers are not scoring as many points as the running backs. I mean, they are to a degree, but they're not to a degree as well. You know what I mean? And so I love me a good wide receiver. If I could get somebody like, I don't know, Tyler Boyd, I think that would be somebody I would be targeting. I know you have Higgins, but I think that Boyd is a nice little sneaky play there, and maybe DJ Moore. Those are two players that I might be targeting.
That's who I was gonna say. I was like, would you take a DJ Moore?
Yeah, I think for that, I think what you're looking at with both those situations I mentioned, their defenses are not very good, and so you want to chase points, chasing a losing situation. That's kind of that's kind of how I envision it myself. So,
who would you take if you had Leonard Fournette? Who would you take? What's a respectable Leonard Fournette trade?
A Leonard Fournette trade, I mean, I'm thinking like a Michael Gallup, maybe, or
I like that.
Maybe Preston Williams, currently surging a little bit, with the Parker injury. I think what you're looking at is value. Where can you get that value in the next couple weeks and kind of plan it out that way, not just, the trade calculator says 6 more points. Well, who gives a shit? Are you going to win next week with this guy? How can you make the team better? Especially if you need to win. If you're in the 3-3s or 2-4s like yourself, you got to rally. You got to make some moves this week. This is the week to come back, because if you don't come back, if you drop to 2-5, it's over, Johnny. It's probably over. Not for sure, but you got to rip them out. So let's win this week. Yeah.
Okay. Well, those are good guys to target in trades. Let's go to elevate, mitigate, and eviscerate. Where should we start? You want to start elevate?
Oh man, we did this last week, and you threw it to me, and you said, "Who do you want to elevate?" And I started mitigating people immediately. So I realized I was glass half empty. So yeah, let's start with elevate, and I'm going to be lockstep with you, this week, and I'm going to try to elevate. What do you think about AJ Green getting elevated? Because we just kind of mitigated.
We've been eviscerating him.
Yeah, I know. Well, the whole industry's been eviscerating him.
Yeah, he's available. He's available in multiple leagues.
Bo says no.
I'm not
gold, a little fool's gold. I think you keep him on your team. I have him in Bo's league. I didn't play him. I'm not going to now elevate him and chase points, but I do think that was just so ironic. I couldn't overlook that from last week. So
yeah. Well, hey, this is fantasy. Some weeks they're eviscerate, some weeks they're elevate, and they're also waiver wire segments all in one. So,
right. Well, okay. Here's a guy who I think you have to elevate is Brandon Cooks. I mean, Brandon Cooks is not going to get 0 again this year. He followed up his 30-point performance with almost a 22-point performance. I mean, he is going to get targets in this offense. Bill O'Brien, what is wrong with you? I'm going to say it again. You're not a good football coach, but you're an even worse GM, because you brought in, you're like, I really value this guy. This guy's got a lot of talent. Let me tell you, I see the stars for this guy. Bring him in. Pay him the money. Then he brings him in, and he's like, hey, hold on, I'll be right back. Comes in, he puts his coach hat on, his whistle, and he's like, hey, you're late. That's a fine. That's $3,000. Get out there, Brandon Cooks. Go out there and run. And then he doesn't give him any targets. I mean, what in the world? Bill O'Brien? I don't get it, man. If you think he's that valuable, you're going to bring him into your team, and you're not even going to play him? That's asinine. Like, at least go with the guy that you paid for, that you brought in, that you thought was going to be your guy. At least. Come on, man. Get out of here.
What I love, getting rid of B.O.B.
Boo!
You now, Deshaun Watson's value skyrockets, because I think what you saw is them a game they should have won.
Yeah.
Versus, and I'll be interested to see where we put them in our power rankings, because the Tennessee Titans look like they are the truth. I mean,
they're in my power rankings. They are.
Oh yeah. I mean, that is a really good football team, and they went toe to toe. And it's 100% because they took the guardrails off Deshaun Watson, and they just let him do what he's capable of doing. And what he's I mean, the quarterback position in the NFL is so hard to play. It's really, if you picked the hardest jobs in the world, I think you could make an argument that playing quarterback in the NFL might be the hardest job in the world. There's literally 10 people that can do it well.
Yeah.
And he's not in the backside of that 10. He's in the top 5 of the best talents in the league. I mean, he is. He's got everything you want. He's got every single thing that makes you a good quarterback.
Well, and now what he has, and this is what Brandon Cooks has always been. And I used to draft him because he was the 13th wide receiver, the 19th, the 12th, the 9th, whatever it was. He was always in that top 20, even on different teams and stuff. He's a speed merchant, man. You get him the ball down the seam or down the sideline on a go route where you got him on one-on-one coverage with a sucker. That's what you do, and he delivers, man. He's a little bit stouter Tyreek Hill. That's the model he's in. He's a speed burner. Sometimes you get him on the jet sweeps. He used to be really good at that when he was, playing for New England. He was awesome at that. I think what you have to do is you have to design plays that benefit your players. Like when you look at your team, you go, who has a skill? Oh, he's good at, I'm going to get him the ball in space going around the edge so that it comes down to him, a linebacker, and a corner, and I'll let him decide where he wants to go. And sometimes Brandon Cook gets tackled. Sometimes Brandon Cook makes a cut, and he goes 30, 40 yards on those little runs. So, you know what? I think he's somebody who I want to have in my lineup. He might be somebody I trade for as well.
Yeah, I like that.
By the way, I don't want to toot my own horn because, sometimes it's kind of like a jerk move to toot your own horn, and people don't like it.
Toots, toot it up. That's what you do, Toots. Come on.
All right, well, I hate to do this to you guys because, in general, like I said, I'm not a guy who toots. But if you really do want to know, this year I rocked it out with an article called Wide Receiver 2 Theory. And in this Wide Receiver 2 Theory, I'm about to share this on the screen because we got like magic powers here on StreamYard. By the way, shout out StreamYard because they're way better than Ecamm. And shout out Ecamm because it gave me my money back when I bitched in them. So I appreciate that. I'm not going to lie. You know what? I would go with StreamYard, but Ecamm's not the worst people ever. So there you go. I'm not a bad person either. Here we go. I'm going to share my Wide Receiver 2 theory real quick with the people. And then in this theory that I pontificated, which, it's just a theory. It doesn't hold any real true value. But if you scroll down, wide receiver 35, Mr. Brandon Cooks, I got him in there as one of my guys. Where is he? Okay.
You just went past him.
There we go. I got him in there. Sorry. As one of my guys. I didn't get a picture of him because he wasn't in uniform yet with the Texans, but I do have him in there along with players like Tyler Boyd. And if you'd see my scroll down there, Deontay Johnson did get hurt, but my man CeeDee Lamb definitely in there as well. So, Toots likes to share it when I got it. Not to really talk about myself, but really to help other people because I knew about CeeDee Lamb. I didn't have to talk about him. I didn't have to write about any of this. This was me definitely seeking to help the people out. So Toots can toot, but really it's about the people and letting them know about where they can find good quality content to help enrich their fantasy football knowledge. I mean, that's why they're here. That's why we're here. We're here to sharpen the swords and to get better. Who else are you elevating, or do you want to move on to mitigating?
I'll say two more people. Bo McBig Time has chimed in, and I think DeAndre Swift is he's somebody I'm gonna elevate. I also think we moved off of AJ Green, but I think T Higgins is somebody if you have on your team, especially in a 12-man league, where you could be more thin at wide receiver. That guy he's everything you want in a wide receiver. He's
the new AJ Green.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what he looks like. He looks like the new AJ Green. Yeah, and Joe Burrow likes him. I mean, he likes to throw him the ball and
he catches the ball every time. Unlike AJ Green, who gets peppered with targets, like 11, 12 targets, he catches 3 of them. Like Green couldn't get his hands in the right spot a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
What with my hands, coach?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it, man. It's like and that's the thing about why it fits with the wide receiver 2 theory. It's that, when there's multiple good receivers, and you have a good quarterback, defenses are gonna they're gonna have to focus on the way that they draw up the plays. There's gonna be players that just get more targets, and I think the way that the chemistry that those two guys have, and just his body. I mean, if I'm a rookie quarterback and I'm trying to make a name for myself, that's who I'm going to be looking to get the ball. So
well, he's the biggest, tallest guy, not counting AJ Green, who's on the field, but he's on the field more than AJ Green.
Yeah, and he's just a better version of AJ Green. So yeah. 6 receptions, 125 yards, 20 points.
Touchdowns coming. They're coming. He had 2 a couple weeks ago. They're coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I like him as a DFS play. I like him as a long shot Millie Makers coming up. Add him to the list of rookies, CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs, that I will play and that I will definitely put in as my wide receiver 2 or 3 in a tournament. I like it. Let's go to mitigate. Bo suggesting things. I got to tell you, shout out my guy, Bo McBig Time. That MFer is one of my favorite people. Mike loves him too. If you don't mess with Bo McBig Time, I mean, I don't get out of here. This guy makes the world's best hot sauce. I stand by it. I've got 1 bottle left. I'm going to make my order tonight for sure, Bo, because I need to get that good stuff to the house soon. Actually, I got 1 bottle in the fridge, 1 bottle up on the stand. So I got 2 bottles left. I got a little bit of time, but it's coming fast. And, I love that guy. He writes for me at nimblewnumbers.com. He also does Picante takes for the Podcastic Network. He's awesome. He's my guy. So shout out Mr. Bo. Bo also wanted to mention Jefferson is someone you need to elevate.
Oh,
he was already elevated. We elevated him last week.
No, but that's a good. I mean,
but I agree.
I mean,
keep him elevated.
Certain players' stats speak for themselves, but he's definitely worth mentioning. He's got to be. I mean, I think anybody who's got him is already doing it, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely worth it. All right, I got a good mitigate, because I mean, it's starting to, this segment. It's like as this season progresses, you already know who to mitigate. So I got a good one.
Okay, good. I like that.
I've already mitigated this person.
Okay,
he has a touchdown right now tonight. And I don't care. Here's a touchdown. His 7.9 points.
Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
Mitigate Kenyon Drake. Mitigate that guy.
It sucks. It sucks. Yeah. Sucks you drafted him in the 2nd round.
Yeah, he sucks.
You might have drafted him in the 1st round.
Yeah.
And I traded for him after I lost Saquon Barkley. And I'm not going to I could see him having some big games down the line, and when he does, I'll bring him in. But he's riding pine for me until I see something. Because
riding dirty, he's riding dirty.
Yeah, he's getting splinters up his ass, dude.
He's riding dirty.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No, it makes total sense that he's riding dirty. Here's the thing about that offense: it doesn't go through their running game at all. It goes through Kyler Murray's feet, and then his scrambling, and then his running, and then his passing, and then his little tiptoeing through the end zone and the tulips. So, yeah, that's just how it goes. What about mitigating? There's some guys that you can mitigate. What about mitigating Juju Smith-Schuster? Oh, in that offense, James Washington's outscoring him.
And
you have
that
Claypool.
Cash called it. I told her. I said when we were doing our draft picks, you had to put him. I put him in the 5th round. People were mocking me. I would have put him later. It's like I had to, because I didn't want to be absurd.
Peer pressure was on.
Yeah, I got
industrial peer pressure.
I got pressured into putting him at the end of the 5th round in a 12-man league draft, and the only reason why I did it was because again, it's the Steelers. It's not Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, you could put him on another team. They just don't like to. They're the
He's
Steelers.
a blocking running back guy.
They don't care about fantasy football. Like, it's not about fantasy football.
Wait a minute, Mike, but I got investment in Dynasty with that guy. He's a good guy. His metrics are through. He's 22. He's only 22.
Yeah. Yeah. They're winning football games, and the formula is not going to change. He'll have good games, but I think that's interesting. I definitely think he's definitely he's a potential mitigator depending on who you have on your team. He's still, borderline flex. But yeah, I like that. I think that's kind of a hot take. So it's not, I like it. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I am Toots, but the last guy that Toots wrote about in his wide receiver 2 theory was James Washington. I said he just might win you your league, and it wasn't because he's going to be the featured wide receiver, but injury, attrition, whatever it is. Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they sling-a-ling it. I think we forget how much Big Ben drops back and just goes, okay, whoosh, and that guy has got an arm cannon still, and I love it. He is not dusty, and they've got Claypool now. They're just so dangerous, and they don't care about your fantasy football team. And so I think Claypool right now, I would go Claypool, James Washington, Juju Smith-Schuster, Eric Ebron. Those are the 4 target values I would go. Because Deontay Johnson's out. I think if Deontay Johnson comes back in, I think mitigates James Washington for sure.
He just jumps into his role. I love James Washington. I think he's a good waiver wire pickup for this week too. It just depends what happens with Deontay Johnson, but
he's got a back bruise. That's not good. He's been out for 2 weeks now because somebody hit him in his back. That's not good. That's breathing. That's moving. Dude,
I've had some back injuries myself, and they are it. When you get a back injury, you just realize how your body is really 2 separate things. It's like you got your upper body and your lower body, and when any part of your back is messed up, you can feel how disconnected you are, and it hurts, dude. Like, you can't walk, you can't do anything. So
no, it's bad.
Yeah.
So, well, my man Bowman Big Time learned from his employer here, Toots. He said, I ranked Juju at wide receiver 41. Good for fucking you, Bo. I
Fair enough. I got another one for you. I'm mitigating. He's a mitigator. It's matchup dependent, but generally I'm going to mitigate this guy. Hopefully I don't have to play this guy. Devin Singletary.
Yeah.
Zach
Moss didn't cut into his carries. Sean McDermott's game plan did. And how he's just going to run it and with Josh Allen and throw with Josh Allen and fumble it with Josh Allen and whatever it is. Josh Allen is it. There's not somebody except for Stephon Diggs who you can go, that's my guy every week. Pair him up, score him up. He's good to go.
It's kind of the same thing with Kenyon Drake and Kyler Murray and Josh Allen and Devin Singletary. These guys, they're like the best rushing quarterbacks I've ever seen. I think Kyler Murray's a better rushing quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Yeah, I agree with you.
I think
hot
he's
take, by the way.
better. And I think Josh Allen is right there too in Lamar's neighborhood because first of all, the hardest guy to bring down of those 3, when you put your hands on him, is Josh Allen.
He's 6'5". He's 240.
6'5", 240. He's Claypool. Like,
right? Yeah.
He's so fast. Yeah. So it's like when you have these quarterbacks. I've always said that when you have the rushing threat and you do the RPO, it helps your running backs.
Yeah,
I'm modifying that. They can't be as good of running quarterbacks as those 2 guys are because when they're that good, when you get down to the goal line, there's no reason to hand off the ball.
Well,
Kyler Murray's going to get into the end zone.
Yeah, let's talk about how the RPO has been modified since it first came out with RG3 really in the NFL. That was a 1 to 2 read look. And so what would happen is he would stick the ball out to Alfred Morris, and the linebackers would come down. And if they did, he would pull it out, and then he would throw it over their heads to Pierre Garçon, right? That was like the plan. And if that didn't work, if they didn't, he would throw a little pass to the back or whatever, and get a couple yards, or to the tight end or whatever. But that's not how it works anymore. That's not how it works. Really, the quarterback on RPOs wants to keep the ball. Mm-hmm. He's not trying to trick the linebackers. I mean, every once in a while you see him do that, but really he's trying to run. And they had a designed run yesterday in the Tennessee Titans game for the quarterback position that was Derrick Henry. That was just, it was in fuego. How are you going to stop that guy on the quarterback keeper? Like, no fucking way, man. I loved it. I hated it. It lost me $40 against my man Kevin Tompkins, but I said, London, look what they're going to do. I said, no, they're going to run it in with Derrick Henry. I said, no, it's not fair. He's as big as those linemen, and he's bigger than the linebackers. I said, he's going to get a touch. This is easy touchdown for Derrick Henry, and he ran right through. Made me look real smart in front of my kid. Thank you, Derrick Henry, for just being a man beast. I mean, God bless you, man. When we get to the heavens or whatever it is, I want to meet Derrick Henry one day and just say, I watched every one of your runs. Every one of them. And they were glorious, sir. So that's my man.
I love his ponytail. I love that thing.
That was a little implicit, but
that joint is just, it's so Derrick Henry.
It's thick.
Yeah.
So thick.
Yeah, man. That thing is bomb.
Here's the thing. I don't think anybody in the league would grab it. If you grab Derrick Henry's thing, I think he might pick you up and body slam you. That's just a feeling I get from my guy. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
He's a grown ass man, as Pete Overzet would say. Anyway, Bo's talking about mitigating Cam Newton, or is he just saying that so Cam Newton? I don't know. I'm not going to mitigate Cam Newton because his running upside every week does give you potential, but his interceptions last week.
I just dropped them.
They were terrible. They were just
eviscerated Cam Newton.
We probably had a little plethora of quarterbacks. For me,
I had Derek Carr. I eviscerated Cam for Derek Carr.
Well, I think it's a great way to talk about. You want to move to waiver wire pickups?
Did we say any eviscerates? That's somebody I eviscerated, Cam Newton. It's kind of getting to the spot where it's like who is there to eviscerate?
I'm going to keep Cam Newton. I mean, I think right now
they don't have anybody to. Like Julian Edelman. He is not it. N'Keal Harry is not it. I mean, he's just sitting back there waiting for guys to get open and just getting mauled. I'm not saying he's not going to have other good games, but
need a better game.
My first eviscerate. I'm not advocating, he's hot trash or anything like that.
That you eviscerated Cam Newton, but I mitigated him. But
I eviscerated him for Derek Carr.
Okay, I like that. Well, you know what? I think I don't have any hot take eviscerates this week. When I thought about it, the NFL week to week is a beast. It changes every week. You look at somebody like Jeff Wilson or JaMychal Hasty, who last week were nothing. They might be something because you have Raheem Mostert now, who's on the IR for a couple of weeks with an ankle, situation, a high ankle sprain. So, you never know where value is going to shift. And so I never want to just, totally drop someone off of my team. So I'm not going to eviscerate anybody right now.
I hear you. I was trying to think of who to do on eviscerate. And it's like, again, as the season progresses, it's like
I was going to say Zach Ertz. I was going to say Zach Ertz. I mean, listen, Zach Ertz got injured, and I don't want to pile on injured players because you're already kind of either stowing him away, obviously, but just Zach Ertz, somebody who is just not. He's not it for me. He's just but he's injured, so I don't.
All right, let's do waiver wire. This is also going to be quick. Trey Burton, the end.
Well, here's what I will say too. Dallas Goedert is available in leagues. He's available in some leagues because he's injured, and that is a real truth. So it's few and far between. But if you're in a league, please get him. I mean, immediately get him right now. But yeah, Trey Burton is the number one target on my tight end list. I do have
number one target overall. I mean, who's the best person to pick up on the waiver wire this week? It's got to be Trey Burton.
I think it is. You'd be surprised how many people are still on the waiver wire. And I'm talking like 30, 40, 50% owned.
Matt Ryan got onto our waiver wire.
I was going to say Matt Ryan, if he's available, get him. Trey Burton, yes, 100%. I do agree with you. I also think depending on how long Jonnu Smith is out for, Fursker becomes a target that you want to get just because that offense is humma-lumma-dumma. It's giving it to everybody. And, dude, you'd be surprised. Your boy Henry Ruggs is available in like 50, 60%, no, 50, 40% of some leagues because he's coming off the injuries, coming off the bye week.
Yeah.
There's people that are just like secret little winners who you're like, what? I didn't drop Henry Ruggs. I got him in my league. No one's dropping him. I'm not getting rid of him in our smart brainiac world we live in. But you might be in a league with some dumbos, and they might have dropped Henry Ruggs. So pick that guy up, please. Don't let that guy go if he's on your waiver wire. Get him. Trey Burton, I agree 100%.
Well, I've said this guy for 3 weeks, and I'm going to say him, and he's never going to come back this season because of his Liz Frank foot injury. Alshon Jeffrey.
Never. I'm going to say never. I'm going to say Travis Fulgham, who's not owned. Get that guy immediately.
We already said him last week.
I know.
Definitely.
He's still available in like 50% of leagues. People
get him.
Dumb.
Get him. I mean, he's Vinny Papali. It's such a cool story.
A great story. Last week's episode was so cool.
I mean, like he is, and that's the thing. I was listening to somebody talk about the NFL. The thing is that the guys that are just outside the NFL are so talented, and for whatever reason, they're just on a practice squad. And I mean, he looks every bit the part of an NFL receiver.
Oh yeah.
He's big, strong. He's got hands.
Takes the pass over the middle. You go in that linebacker land. You got some stones, man.
Yeah.
Man. You got some balls, bro.
But I do think if Alshon Jeffrey comes back, he is going to eat. I really do. I mean,
he comes back. We're watching him and Deshaun Jackson both. We're looking. It's the Eagles watch.
I just
added to the beginning of Tampa Bay watch. New England Bay
I don't
watch.
want Deshaun Jackson.
I don't either. I'm just saying those were the people who will suck up snaps and routes to take Fulgham out to devalue players like that. It's just the snap share. That's what you want to watch for. So as long as they're out, he thrives. As soon as they come back, he just takes a hit. He just takes a hit. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Here's what's crazy. I'm going to name some names, bro, and I'm going to play a game with you called Do You Think They're Owned in More or Less Than 50% of Leagues?
Okay.
Because you didn't know about this segment, but it's a cool one. I thought I just it on. Here we go. Preston Williams.
I just got him off the waiver wire. I'm gonna say less than 50%.
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. You win. Less than 50%. Next guy, Tim Patrick, a guy we talked about last week on the waiver wire.
Definitely less than 50%.
Definitely. Ding, 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 ding. Your guy, Keelan Cole.
I would think more than 50%. Less than 50%? Wow.
Yep. Those were the three. I was wondering if you could get my pattern. They were all under 50, and you could get them.
I just answered honestly. I kind of saw maybe that's where you're going, but I would have thought if I gave my honest answer, he's had enough good games. Well, I mean, he was already like wide receiver 28 or something like that in PPR.
Yeah, a touchdown last week.
No, yeah. Now he's going to be like wide receiver like 19 or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a bomb game last week.
Yeah. Well, they're all available in about 50% more, less than that. So I mean, you there's some are 60% available. Also, somebody just might want to keep an eye on wide receivers. Marcus Johnson, if you're in a deeper league, apparently Philip Rivers can throw to only one. Well, he threw to Zach Pascal as well, but and there was a touchdown caught by T.Y. Hilton, so he kind of spread around. But targets wise, and Marcus Johnson has been balling out. He got 100 yards in that offense. That's kind of crazy. So if you're a deeper league, keep your eye out for him. The only other guy that I have on my list, you talk about Matt Ryan, Derek Carr, you mentioned as well. Justin Herbert coming off a bye might be available as well. Just little sneaky plays to upgrade your QB position if you're thinking about that. And then one guy too that as long as Akins is out, Darren Fells. is somebody.
Darren Fells.
He's available, and I think he is somebody who
I wanted to mention him too.
It's because of Deshaun Watson being unleashed.
Yep.
You know how the fantasy footballers have 55. We should have unleashed because my guy Darren Fells in the Deshaun Watson unleashing is being unleashed not because he's great, but because the volume's there and he's like 7 feet tall, So those two things, and that catch, by the way, I watched it on the Next Gen Stats on Sunday that he had for his touchdown. It's just so cool. They had a minute or two after his touchdown catch, they had the little circles with the dots and the line and the ball going, and the angle of that with the catch. He is a beast. He really is. So I
got your streamer defense for the weekend.
I got one too. Let's go. Who we got?
This is it, and you've probably already eviscerated this one.
Yeah.
Bills are taking on the Jets next week.
Oh yeah, brother! I gotta tell you, that was my defense, man. That was a great call.
Go ahead and scoop them up.
Yeah,
man. Lineup. I had the Dolphins D, which is the Dolphins D is looking like it's a pretty solid D. Yeah, got me a nice 20 bone in one of my legs. So.
Sluggish bone. I'm in. I love it. All right. Well, you know what? That's the end. I have a one last guy to think about. And that I don't even want to mention him, but if the god Derrick Henry goes down.
McNichols
because why the backfield's only kind of his because the rookie Evans is on IR, so really it just becomes a numbers game.
I like your pickups, bro. Those are all the guys I was thinking about, and I'm glad you mentioned him because he looks good. He looked good, and he plays that PPR role too. I don't think anything's going to happen to that man.
No,
that grown ass man. So it's not one of those kind of situations. It's just one of those kind of situations where
Gristle,
he's going to break off all these 40, 50-yard runs, and he's going to need a rest. Yeah. Hey, bro,
and I just shoved 6 linemen down. I'm going to take a break on this one and just pop the ponytail up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I got to be honest with you. Derrick Henry to me is just like a hero because he is bigger than linebackers, faster than safeties. He's like what I want Jesus to be. That's kind of like if you told me that was Jesus, I'd be like, yeah, man. Yeah. Because that's my guy in the NFL. He is the closest I think you get in a game to Jesus on the running back side. Here's what they said. In the last 3 years, there's 3 people who've run for 300 or 200 yards, and it's 3 people, and then it's 3 times Derrick Henry. So it's Derrick Henry more than everybody else times 3, adding up to that. That man went 94 yards, and there was a point where he was level and actually behind. If you look at the real run, almost everybody on the field. He was the last guy on the field, and then he went. And once he hit the linebackers, there's so many guys who are like right next to him. You can just like reach out and touch him. No, you can't. He went so fast, DBs couldn't catch him, man. Like he went 21 miles an hour. He was up there on your Raheem Mostert fastest runs of the year club, and that dude is like 265 pounds. So holy S! I love that guy. I'm sorry, man. I just came. I gotta clean it up.
Yeah. He seriously, that guy is can you imagine trying to play against him in high school? He rushed for over 12,000 yards in high school.
That's like 3,000 yards a season, bro.
I'm sure it was just one 94-yard rush after another, and then they just took him out at halftime.
I bet
400 yards a game on like 4 carries.
I bet it was a lot of these, right? I bet it was like, here we are at Westfield High School, and the kickoff goes down, and they've kneeled it at the 3. This is an interesting strategy here. We'll see what happens. All right. There's too many linemen on the field. I don't understand. There's a lineman in the backfield. Holy shit! You know? And that's what happened on every play. He would go, listen, I played against a guy who did that in real life in the 90s in Montgomery County, Maryland, where I live. His name was Tyree Foreman, and I tackled him one time when he didn't have the ball. And he looked at me after I did. I didn't really tackle him. I grabbed his leg, tripped him. He got up, and he like laughed in my face and like pushed his foot in my face as a Graham Manley touchdown went over. I fell for the play fake. I got in the backfield, man. I busted through. I was so little, not little. I was fat. I was so low to the ground that I could get down in my 4-point stance and get lower than anybody. And I could just, you see how flexible I am. I could ram through and get in there. I did. But, Pat Salino was rolling out, not actually handing the ball off. And Tyree was none pleased. He ran for I would say a 70-yard run in the first quarter of that game where he trucked my guy Mike Herway, crushed him as a safety. But my other best friend, George Yeboah, ran him down and tackled him at like the 2-yard line. And George Yeboah was on the state like track and field, like fastest guys in the
so
state.
Was Tyree Foreman.
So it was but not as fast as George Yeboah. That guy got tackled. I couldn't believe it. No one ever believed
got the angle on him. That guy Tyree Foreman, I think he was the fat. He was like top in the state in track and field too. He was so fast.
Listen, it was like Darryl Green. It was like tackling Darryl Green. Darryl Green ran down and tackled him.
He just got the angle on him. Get the angle on him. I don't know.
I watched it live, man. I watched it live.
I probably did too because I went to every game. I was at Sherwood then, so I just remember Tyree Foreman. If there was anybody,
the Magruder game at Magruder, it was at Magruder.
I just went to every game, so I don't remember. I don't remember that, but
you might have seen your boy over there, number 69.
I was, probably out smoking weed in the cornfields. But
hey, listen, let's talk about high school another day because those are my cornfields, bro.
I just remember Tyree Foreman being somebody that I was 100% sure was going to make the NFL.
Well, you took
trash cans for legs. Trash cans for legs. He was one of the fastest people in the state, and he played D1 at Virginia. I think he made a practice squad. That's how crazy it is to play in the NFL. And this guy was, he'd have 5 carries for 400 yards. I mean, that was his game script. It was crazy. They would just put him in. We'd win 28-0. 45-0
or 52-0.
Right. It would just be handoff after handoff. But
he would just do the same sweep play to the right or the left, whatever hash mark you're on, they go to the far hash mark, and he would just be faster than everybody else, and he would get the corner or make a juke, and then he would go.
And then once he got to University of Virginia, it was like that didn't like they were as fast as him. Like they just like he'd get like 5 yards on plays, and I was like, what is this? Like,
well, here's the truth about all of that, man. I think some of the best players are the players who are tested. And so when you go through a system, you want people who are tackling you, hitting you, making you better. And so maybe you're in one of those like Pennsylvania, football factory or Texas football factory or California towns where they all live, sleep, and breathe that shit, and they eat it up, and you get better and you help somebody else get to the pros. You don't get there, but you're so good that you make somebody else better. They get there. Tyree didn't have that in our game, man. He was spoiled. He would go for 5 and 303 touchdowns for and he didn't have people who were at his skill level. And so when he got to people who were at his skill level, he didn't have the other skill set to be successful, the determination, the worth, whatever it was, whatever the coaching support, whatever it was, whatever the issues were there. He just didn't have it where it was easy before. Now it was hard. And that's really what you need to be successful, is iron sharpening you the whole way.
Well, and I don't think Derrick Henry still has anyone testing him. So
no, Derrick Henry breaks that theory. But
he just doesn't. He's still playing in high school. Like,
yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he is
breaking off 94. You think that's going to be his last 94-yard run? I don't.
No. He does one every year. And when I saw it come across my screen, I go, "Oh yeah, of course. I can't wait to see it." So let's talk about our ranking system here now. So this is a new segment that I'm pioneering here too. I'm just throwing a bunch of curveballs at Mike because he's my guy and I know he can handle. So
Let's power rank
it up. So this is where we play a sounder and be like power rankings. Yeah. All right. So let's go down. Let's count down. We're talking best teams moving forward with the fantasy implications with your QB. You could be your RB, your wide receiver. These are the offenses you want. They might also correlate to some of the better teams in the NFL. So I don't want people to get confused with who you think is the top team right now, but there might be some crossover in some of these situations. The top 5 offensive kind of fantasy juggernauts that you want to have going forward the rest of the year.
Okay.
We can go from 5 to 1.
Okay. Go from 5 to 1. So
is that helpful, or you want to go from 1 to 5? Which
no? Let me just. If you want to go 5 to 1, let me.
I'm gonna throw one out there. I'm gonna throw out my 5.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna throw my 5 is Pittsburgh.
That's who I was gonna say.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh in every single game, it's not going to be every single player going to get those big points. It might be games where Connor gets more of the groundwork or the offense shifts around. But I think that Big Ben's not somebody who I'm going to be, striving to get. He's not on most of my teams, but I think all of those different pieces in that offense, whether it be Connor or whether it be Claypool or Washington or Deontay Johnson, whoever that is, I think they have value. They have a lot of value going forward. So I like that whole offense. They're number 5 for me. What do you think about that offense?
Yep, that would be. I was going to pick them at my 5. That's literally who I was looking at and saying, all right, if I'm going to start, I'd put them at 5. It's just a lot of good weapons. They score a lot of points. So you could get somebody like James Washington off the waiver wire, and with Deontay Johnson out, he's going to eat. Eric Ebron's going to eat. So yeah, that's a good pick for 5.
You want to lead off 4?
Okay, well, you are throwing a curveball at me. I haven't prepped for this at all, so I'm looking right now. Well, I'm trying to think if I would put them higher. I'm looking at 4 as a fantasy football team. I guess I'd have to say the Rams.
Well, I like them for the running backs for sure. I think they are a great value.
Well, you got. I mean, you got
and then Robert
2 tight
Wood.
ends. You got 2 tight ends. You got 3 wide receivers. Josh Reynolds. Yeah. I mean, he's getting play.
They're my number 6. So I'm not. This is very close. Yeah. This is very close.
That's my 4.
I like that
4.
But the only problem is they're running so many runs that like Cooper Kupp's devalued so far. Where Robert Woods his value's increased. But
well, he's had big games though. I mean,
this is the thing about it. Depending on the game, it's going to go different ways. My number 4 is Atlanta, and it's only if Julio Jones is healthy, and that's where these caveats come in. I'm not trying to hedge my bets or anything like that, but that offense sucks without Julio. With Julio though, that's a great offense. I really like. Even Todd Gurley, it opens it up for him. Without Julio, Todd Gurley gets a little bit more of the focus. So I like that if you're a Todd Gurley guy. But I think that offense, their defense is still not great. Look what happened in Minnesota. They scored 40 points, so I like them.
Okay, I like them too. I'm going to put them at 3.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I already know 1 and 2. I'm sure we both have 1 and 2 the same. Who's your 3?
I'm going to go Tennessee at my 3. I really like Tennessee a lot, and I think Derrick Henry we talked about, but then also you have AJ Brown. Johnny Smith getting hurt sucks, like that just kind of sucks. But I think that does give AJ Brown a little bit more of an edge. And Tannehill, man, he's been a secret little top, 10 quarterback this year, really crushing it.
I'm going to put Atlanta at 3. I'm moving the Rams out. I'm going to put Tennessee at 4. I like that.
I like that. That's a good thing.
Rams out, Tennessee at 4. Wasn't thinking about them. It does seem like they always have a good wide receiver too. Like Humphreys is going to do good whenever Corey Davis beats this dreaded plague that he's going to come back. He's going to be fine too. You saw that guy Fursker come in and
First skip up against the ball.
yeah, he got 25 points. So
Yeah,
and Tannehill is definitely somebody that if he's still available, I doubt he is, but man, that guy is just he really is so efficient. So yeah, that's a good pick. I like that.
I like it. Now let me talk about the next two, because I think what you're doing,
easy.
Yeah, they're easy.
Yeah.
But when you flip the coin, I think what you're looking at is, do you have Russell Wilson, or do you have Pat Mahomes?
Right.
Because if you have Pat Mahomes, you're spreading the ball around a little bit, unless you stack him with Travis Kelce. Of course, it's a great stack. But if you have Russell Wilson, you probably, except for me, I don't, probably have one of the other two wide receivers, and which kind of narrows your funnel of points, which I love too. So to me, you could do one or the other for number one or number two, depending on how you've outfitted the rest of your team. But I think, for me, I go Seahawks 2. I have Chiefs 1. That's what I ranked. And what about you? Where'd you go?
I would go Seahawks 1, Chiefs 2 for fantasy value. I just another thing that's, I think Seattle's got a worse defense, so that makes them better for fantasy. So
all these caveats. By the way, there's other teams that I like, honorable mentions that I like. The Dallas Cowboys would have been in this conversation, given what had happened.
Made the top 5 for me,
right? Me too. But there's a shifting in what's happening. You can see it tonight. It's just
suck, dude. It's sad. It's sad. I mean, even guys like CeeDee Lamb. It's gonna be rough goings going forward, dude. So.
Hey, good thing I didn't actually play Andy Dalton. I picked him up, and then I was talking to people, and they're like, Andy Dalton is some shite.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I dropped him, and I picked up Kirk Cousins, and then Kirk Cousins threw 3 straight interceptions to start the game. And I went, okay, I'm at -4. Holy, Andy Dalton's better than this. No. Kirk Cousins.
Not in the fantasy world. Yeah, not in the fantasy world. Yeah. The other thing is that the Cowboys' offensive line is all banged up too. So if you don't have a mobile quarterback like Dak who can move around, if you have just like an old school white dude who's just going to hang in the pocket, it's not going to happen. All those receivers get downgraded. I don't really want any of them. I mean, after watching some of this game, I don't want them. I really don't.
Yeah, CDs, TDs might have to change to Goddard's, Boddards. I don't know, something. We'll figure it out. All right, so let's jump to the last segment before 3 tweets. Because 3 tweets is going to be a fun one. I like it already. I know it's going to be good. Let's talk about New England Baywatch, because this week saw a real turn in the tail
in the power rankings.
In the power rankings, we've had a unsettling with the COVID issue last week. Really a stall to the story, and then also with Tom Brady. Not knowing how many downs there were and kind of losing that game to the Bears. It wasn't the best of times for the New England Baywatch series in terms of
Bears are good.
Bears are good.
Who could have called the Bears being 5-1? Like, this is crazy.
With Nick Foles as their QB, nonetheless.
Matt Nagy's just doing it. Like, he's playing. They're playing old school football and they're winning games. Just
establish the slow game.
Yeah, they're doing it well, man. They're still not like on my radar as somebody that I think, has any shot, to go deep in the playoffs.
Right.
But
they're definitely 5-1 though. You can't deny it.
Top of the division. But that win against the Packers, the tables have flipped for me in New England Baywatch. Now I think Cam, I am gonna say I did think about this game with him. I do wonder if maybe there was the lingering effects of COVID. You know what I mean? Like
could be.
He just dealt with
it. Lasts a month at least.
Yeah, overall. He just dealt with a crazy disease. So if
you eviscerated the poor guy, that probably inflamed his COVID, man.
I'll take Derek Carr over him.
Yeah, I'm not going
I will. For in 2020, I'm not talking about careers, but
Yeah, I agree.
I think Derek Carr is going to have a good
I agree.
season this
That's not
season.
bad. No. Well, here's the thing. I agree with all of those things. But you have to say they lost to Drew Lock's field goal friend, Brandon McManus, kicking 9,000 field goals. CD Carter was beside himself every time McManus lined up for a kick. He was just like, honey, no, look, it's happening again. Red zone. No, look. McManus, not in the red zone, though. No, it's not. You're right. He's like at the 40. Oh, look at this. Every time. I'm sure his wife was like, Denny, shut up. No one cares about kickers. Didn't they get rid of kickers in that crab cakes league you're in? He's like, yeah, that was some bullshit. So, yeah, McManus beat Cam Newton. That's not good. We need to see that team rally to come back in the standings because right now it's shifted. We have a New England team that's below the belt right now, and we have a Tampa Bay team that looks like their defense is for real. They're in the top power rankings of the real NFL. So,
I mean, and the thing about the Patriots too is that you now have Miami, who they're not the Miami.
they're 3-3.
They're a tough team. So
Yeah,
you have Bills, and you have Miami in that division. I think
they don't make the playoffs. That's right. Maybe.
I mean,
I think it's gonna be hard.
It's going to be hard to make the playoffs. I think.
Yeah.
You know, you got the Steelers and the Ravens. You know, the Colts at 4-2. Las Vegas Raiders look like a really good team too.
There's a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle.
I could see them not making the playoffs. So I'm definitely flipped on the power rankings when you know before when Cam stepped in and was having these big multi-touchdown games and
sluggish boning it out there.
It looked like New England was going to just
East
do what they do. But I just think I think Tom Brady was like, peace out to this because I don't have anybody to throw the ball to. And, I never count out Bill Belichick, but I just think if we're talking New England Baywatch, it looks like Tampa Bay. Like, good for you, Tommy. Like you made a good move, dude. Like
2 guns tight.
Yeah.
I'm in. I like it a lot too. And just between you and me, I don't play favorites on any team. I don't love teams. I respect Bill Belichick a lot. He's a great coach, and I respect Tom Brady a lot too. But I did want to see what it would look like without them being together. And Tom's got another really good coach, and they're working together to get it done. So I like them going forward. I think they are going to make the playoffs. They can win that division. We'll see. The Saints are 3-2. They can win that division, though.
Yeah. I mean, they're 4-2. So, to me, Cash did not have the best weekend this weekend in DFS because I built a lot of lineups around Aaron Rodgers. I did not see that coming. I honestly thought Green Bay was going to do what Green Bay's been doing. And, Tampa Bay to just have a dominating win like that. Yeah, the power ranks have been adjusted. So
they have. Well, speaking of that, I think it is probably time, just personally, for one of our favorite segments, which is called 3 Tweets.
Trace tweet.
3 of the tweetiest tweets you can tweet. So let me pull these up real quick. And if you wanted to share yours, you could now. I'm going to.
I sent them to you.
You sent them. Okay. I have not looked at all at my DM, so this will be fun to go and jump into. And I'm going to. It's so fun to produce a show. I think you learn about how everybody else has done it. I produce a show every day for my class, and it's a lot of work, but it's not the worst. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
Yeah, I can start. My first tweet is no Sounders. It's just one of the funniest things I've ever seen on the internet.
Okay. Is it a picture or is it a video?
Yeah, it's a picture. The second one's a video if I win. This one
all right, I like this.
Just made me LOL quite a bit. it's going to be a little hard if you're just listening to get really the value of this. But for the people watching, there it is, the one with the chase card.
Yeah.
Okay, so the tweet says, it's got the prayer hands. It says, just got my first debit card, and it's got prayer hands. And then it's a picture of his debit card, front and back, with all the numbers on it. It's just got all his information right there. So funny. I don't know who did that tweet. I don't know if they're just like, I know it's illegal. I don't know if you like are trying to like hurt your girlfriend. Can you look at the name? What is the name? Go back to the name.
His name is Noah J. Silverstone.
He put got his Chase Visa debit card, and he put it on the Twitter, and it got 127,000 likes.
That's hilarious.
That made me laugh. So
yeah, that is good. I'm gonna give you.
He made sure he put his little 3-digit code on the back too. Oh man, that
is funny. That is definitely a good one. All right, let me check mine. I'm gonna do a little shout out to myself here. Toots.
Okay.
But I talked about earlier how I was not the only person who didn't win this week. Well, I woke up today a little discouraged I didn't win, and went on the interwebs and found out I didn't win, but it was okay because I still won some, and I definitely didn't do this. So this made me feel a lot better about myself. Let's hear from my guy Pete Overzet here.
Okay.
Yes, Joe, it's a lot of snowflakes. I'm aware of snowflakes. It's freezing. I'm wearing a pullover hoodie because I'm so cold. I was on a heater and now I'm freezing. As they say in Game of Thrones, winter is coming. Winter is coming. Your bankroll is going to get frozen over. I'm way too wired for a Monday morning here. Okay. The Snowflake King. No, that's not my nickname. Please don't make that my nickname. Yes, Joe, it's a lot of snowflakes. I'm aware.
Yeah, he's aware. That's my guy Pete Overzet, and I interjected myself in there because this morning I had lost, and I was not feeling great about myself, and I jumped in to YouTube during a little break when my responsibilities were not there, and there was Pete with 9 out of 10 snowflakes. His lineup scored 59 points in the spy. I felt bad because my lineup of 204 only won me $100. Here I am bitching. That guy is the man. I love Pete Overzet. Shout out Pete. We're coming back. I did lose, like I said, this week. So did he. But that lineup was just so funny.
That's an Arctic lineup right there. That's bad.
Well,
DeAndre Hopkins, go to the house. Damn it.
So here's what we have with him. He's so smart because he lined up all of those comments right in a row, and he, if you know about the Game of Thrones, of course, the Night King, winter is coming, calling him, the Snowflake King. It was perfect. He's just a master of all things entertainment. I got to say, one of my favorite DFS follows. If you're not following Pete Overzet, oh man, that guy is just the best. Hilarious. Somebody I want to be like when I grow up, between you and me. Yeah. So anyway, I think you win just because that thing is so epic. I think that is just,
You like that one. Okay. I have a different tweet for it's not hilarious, but it's really crazy. Yeah. So go to the LeBron James thing, blow this one up, get the sound going.
Here we go.
All right. Go start over. All right. Yep. Pause it. Yeah, start it over too. All right.
Lord of the Rings, LeBron James.
Yeah. This is a Nintendo 64 game, right? That's a Nintendo 64 game.
Yes, I see that.
Nintendo 64.
Yes, old school.
Old.
Yeah. Called Lord of the Rings.
It's LeBron James Lord of the Rings,
Mhm.
and it's him with 4 rings. Okay. Kind of weird. Yeah. Press play. Just what is that? That's just weird.
That is cool. That is
Yeah, and when did 64 die out? Like, I mean, that's got stuff of him on with the Heat, but I didn't even think
that looks like a somebody who produced a sticker and then who wrote a code of a video and then somehow put it into that. That's highly sophisticated.
Is that what it is, man? 'Cause
Yeah, that's super cool.
it's fake.
Man.
Is it a deep fake?
It's not a deep fake. It's just somebody
Is
who.
there a real game called LeBron James, The Lord of the Rings?
No, there's not.
They just made that?
Yeah, that's just an homage. That's just an homage to him. Yeah.
I mean, what is that? That's like, yeah, they just made somebody produced all of that. They just
Yeah, some super nerd made that, which is super cool.
Let's check. I have not checked. LeBron James, Lord of the Rings. Somebody just made that for a tweet.
I think they did.
LeBron James, Lord of the Rings.
I've never seen that before. By the way, I have a snarky Troy Aikman comment that I think deserves a listen. And Joe Buck too.
That's a lot of jet fuel just to do a little flyover. That's your hard-earned money and your tax dollars at work. That stuff ain't happening with Kamala Biden ticket. I'll tell you that right now, partner.
What is that?
That was Troy Aikman and Joe Buck at the San Francisco game. There was a flyover, and they're bitching about it. I didn't know they were both libs, but listen to this.
That's a lot of jet fuel just to do a little flyover. That's your hard-earned money and your tax dollars at work. That stuff ain't happening with Kamala Biden ticket. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I think you're right about LeBron James. I can't see that this is any game, so I just wanted to share that because I thought it's pretty weird. Like somebody created that. Like,
they made that.
Yeah, somebody made that. Like that's
cool.
Yeah,
cool
it's legit. Yeah.
Well, speaking about cool as shit.
What a nerd.
What a nerd. I love that. Speaking of nerds and cool as shit, check out my podcast on Saturday night, the DFS Money Shot. Also, check out my podcast on Sunday, The Millie Maker. Myself and Bo are normally on there. And then Saturday night with Bo and Sunday, it kind of goes both ways. We start late. It's fast, hard finish, and then I'll be all around. Like last week, I was on a bunch of different podcasts. I'm always here Monday night from 9:30, apparently now until 11, which is great, man, because I love talking to you. I will talk to you until the cows come home. I don't care if anybody listens to this shit, but you and I get to hang out and talk and spit our fire. I mean, it's been a great day. I needed a little lift up at the beginning of the day. This day is coming to a great end, man, and it's because of you and my relationship with you. Love you, brother. This is awesome. You can check all of my stuff out at thefantasymillionaires.com, nimblewithnumbers.com. Follow Mike at the Ralph Macho on Twitter. I am Nimble W Numbers on Twitter. We'll see you next week. Please win your league, win your week. Get there.
See y'all week 7. Peace.
Peace.